It is August 6th, 2016, and I'm leaving the Veterans Long-Term Care Facility in Montrose, New York. It's just before midnight, and I'm climbing into my car to make the 50-minute drive down the steep and windy Taconic Parkway, which connects Upper Westchester with the northern part of New Jersey, which is where I reside. I've just gotten my father settled in, coming out of a rehabilitation center that gave him literally 3 days to find a new home. I am exhausted. I am completely drained of all energy. I get into my car and I turn onto the main road, and I remember myself moving towards the Taconic sign. The next thing I remember, I'm pulling into the driveway at my home in Bergen County. And as I come to, I recognize that this is yet another night that God has driven me home. What started as an accidental slip off the edge of the bed turned into a myriad cocktail mix of pass the buck and drop the ball on behalf of our illustrious healthcare system. And this is what has landed us here. I hear an animalistic moan fill the cavern of the car. And suddenly I realize it is me, finally confronting the truth of my father's demise. He's not going to bounce back this time in the way that we've always been accustomed to. This is indeed the end. My sister and I have been working around the clock for months with what began with trying to ensure that he would get world-class care and ultimately evolved to ensuring that his final days could be filled with comfort and dignity. I am praying that tonight's sleep will find me, because my sister and I are platinum card-carrying members of Camp No Sleep right now. As I drag my body from the car, I feel optimistic that the Sandman will find me. 2 weeks later, I'm in LA on business, and I get the call. By the time I arrive in New York, he is gone. My hero, the man whose care has occupied almost every waking moment of the last 21 years, is no more. Immediately, I jump into the logistics, planning the funeral. You know, packing up his hospital room, getting whatever was left in boxes in his assisted living facility, talking with the doctors and nurses to wrap things up, dealing with the pension board, handling the drama with my family. Did I say handling the drama with my family? Yeah. All the while leaning into a brand new company which is growing. And everything in me needs my attention. Everything around me needs my support. Everything in my purview is requesting time and attention. And for me, this becomes the perfect reason to keep going, to keep grinding, to keep avoiding. My calendar becomes stacked beyond what is humanly possible. And I go from moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. And then at some point, I decide, in the midst of all of the overwhelm, I still do not have enough to do. So I just keep on what? Piling it on. I think you have a sense of where this is going. August 12th, 2017, in Charlottesville, Virginia, the Unite the Right rally turns violent. And to the horror of the rest of the world, we watch as the violence erupts. The members of my team, very diverse, square off. And it comes to a head between two core members, one of which happened to have been born and raised in Charlottesville, Virginia, and actually lived on the street where Heather Henley was mowed down. Somehow, I think, in my naivete, that operating on fumes, I can hold my team through this firestorm, while I am simultaneously holding my family through the reading of my father's will and his controversial wishes around his estate, all while continuing to close new clients, all while trying to be a good wife, all while making sure I make payroll. By September 10th, my team is split in half, and literally one side will not even communicate with the other. By October 10th, I cannot get off the couch. Neither threat, nor plea, nor challenge will move me. I am not okay. In the months that would follow, and the process that I would go through, in the fierce and loving support of a coach and a therapist, I began to unravel what it was that got me here, what it was that caused me to push myself beyond what was humanly possible. What was it about my reality that had me believe that I could defy gravity? As I began to unpack the layer upon layer of my meltdown, I discovered a few really interesting things that had everything to do with the nature of my motivation and ambition. The first thing that I discovered was that there was a way in which I carried on connected to who I thought I was, what I thought the world was that I had inherited, and what I believed was expected of me as my mother's daughter, as the responsible one in the family, as the CEO of a mission-driven company. The well-heeled narratives rooted in the legacies of oppression that were channeled through my mother's expectations told me that rest was a luxury I could not afford. My father and the unfinished business of being a black man in America, growing up in the 20s and 30s and 40s, and never ultimately receiving his due, hung like weight on my shoulders as unfinished business. My challenging reality of the severe diagnoses that ran rampant in my family in the context of mental health had me propelled to try to do something that would ultimately bring honor to my family name. Pressure upon pressure upon pressure upon pressure. As I got to the heart of the matter, as painful as it was, my awakening opened a door that gave me permission to challenge it all. And through that, I took my work ethic back to the studs. I looked at not only what my work was, but the way in which I had been working. And I asked myself the most provocative question of all, which was, what do you really want? Now, what do you really want? For yourself, for my world, for the people I loved and was committed to serving. What did I want in the here and now, and what did I want for the generations that came after me? So many of us, as amazing change agents and leaders, struggle with the same challenge, to be working in ways that are overextending beyond what is normally possible for us, and that this now has become our reality. We are making world-changing decisions. We are weighing the odds of things that have ripples and impacts far beyond what we can imagine. And somehow, though, we don't have the permission. We've not been granted the room or the space to believe that we can put the mantle down. So much of our culture tells us that working hard is not only necessary, it is expected. It is expected when we consider our life, our work, our survival. It is expected when we consider our pecking in the social order of our society. It is expected no matter what background we come from or where we enter into spaces. It is the way that we prove ourselves as worthy. And the constant chase of the validation, because we think that this is who we are, what we do. But it's not. And so for me, in taking my work ethic back to the ground, I began to ask myself, what would propel me? What would invite me? What would enliven me to do this differently? In the work of renegotiation that we do at Move the Crowd, there are 3 specific shifts that we invite to create sustained inspiration. We reclaim, we realign, and we reimagine. We reclaim any narrative that challenges our right to rest. Rest respects our humanity. It gives us the space to pause, to reset, to restore. And when we honor our own humanity, we have then the capacity to see and honor and recognize the humanity in others. When we are making decisions, we're able to respond versus retaliate and react. When we give ourselves the permission of rest, we bring our best selves to ourselves through self-nurturance and care. Rest is essential if we truly want to change the world. We realign to a new level of self-love and respect. Rest respects our energy, which is directly connected to our authenticity, our values, and what it is that we say truly matters. When we operate in our truth, we get very clear about what we will tolerate in terms of what is working and what is not. We give ourselves permission to opt out of anything that does not honor the reason why we are here. Your energy relies on your ability to access your truth. Genuine power is not about being right. It is about being true. It is about being true. In Bronnie Ware's groundbreaking work, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, she shares that regret number 1 is that I have not lived a life that is aligned with my truth. I wish I had, as opposed to a life that others have expected of me. To thine own self be true. Reimagine your relationship with work and the way you work. Our happiness matters. I'll say that again. In the context of our work, our happiness matters. Rest respects our creativity and our desire to do it differently. Given everything that we have navigated over the last 5 years, work is begging to be reimagined. And whether we're looking through the threat or opportunity of AI to find this revolution, or whether we're looking to the opportunity for a reimagining of our human culture, revolution is definitely something that is on the table when it comes to our system of work. I think what we've got to decide is which revolution do we want to sign up for? How will we use our new knowledge and wisdom garnered in our lived experiences over the last 5 years to do this differently? How will we cultivate spaces where our collective and individual humanity are honored? How will we open the door that expands the circle of care to include those who've been most neglected, ourselves included? Thriving is the new ambition. And thriving requires for us to care, first and foremost, for ourselves, not from an egoic place, but from a place of genuine love and compassion. When we look at this new world of work that wants to be reimagined, our joy, our optimism matter. Our freedom, our autonomy, our fulfillment matter. We want opportunities to evolve and grow personally and professionally. We want community. We want to serve and work with people who inspire us in every sense of the word. And we also want sustainability, which is different than stability. Stability suggests certainty. And if we have all not learned anything else about the state of our world, certainty is not on the menu. Sustainability speaks to longevity and the possibility of working in a way that is regenerative, that we get fed and fueled by our efforts as opposed to depleted by them. The opportunity, when we become intentional about our ambition, is greater joy, greater freedom, and greater fulfillment. My commitment in my own life and in the life of everyone that we have the privilege of serving in our work is that you find your truth, is that you live your truth, is that you be your truth in honor of the greatest contribution that you are here to make to our beloved world. I thank you for the opportunity to wake up with you this morning. My name is Rha Goddess.